The other theme that came out very clearly is that the literature exists to make sense of emerging markets, but it does not exist in management. So I want to open the floor for some questions. So just briefly, if you could speak about the fields in which you needed to go and hunt for some guidance about how to make sense of your project. Lisa, I'll go from that side.
So in management literature, there was very little about the impact of the researcher, or the data on the researcher. I had to go into the medical literature to find studies that they do, and they look at compassion fatigue. They look at different areas. They, in human geography, especially with people working post natural disasters, what happens during that process afterwards? This is where I got to the mental health guide that the World Health Organization put together for actual rescuers working in those areas. And how do you work with your participants that have gone through a very traumatic experience? I didn't find that in management literature. I had to go to different disciplines to actually go and find that. And there's no ways in which I had been able to get the data that I had been on how I experienced my research if it hadn't been for other disciplines.
And now the chapter. Anna?
Yes, so I had to read law publications because law theorized Khotla as a court system. So I needed to understand it from that perspective. And then I had to look at public admin literature. So that spoke about Khotla as a local governance mechanism. And then I actually had to read a lot about history books that were written on Khotla. And fortunately, some of the materials were written in Setswana, which I can understand. So I found myself reading a lot of philosophy publications to inform my chapter. So that was incredibly hard. And in that process, you're dealing with gray literature that we know. They say, no, don't go into the gray literature. And then the question is, how do you create the balance between the gray literature and also bringing in the management perspective or management publications? So gray literature is good to give you a broad understanding of what you're dealing with. And once you are done with that, then you need to go into more academic publications to position your arguments.
Gloria?
Yeah, in my case, I had to go into media studies, multimodal video, audio. So it was difficult to find quality journals in that space. I found a few that at least I managed to anchor. And they also still had limitation, but it was very useful because then they were able to put up a process to say when you are analyzing video, these are the things that you do. There were challenges in that. Obviously, in my case, I couldn't put people's pictures and that kind of stuff. It was really just the emotion. So it was a media literature. And then for the emotions part, it was psychology literature that I had to go into to be able to find how you differentiate between the intensity and how you could be able to know which emotion to place where. So those were, yeah, two sets of literatures I used for the book chapter.